I'm pretending I'm sitting outside looking at this beautiful sunset. I'm only going to be using red and blue and white on my palette. You notice there's also some purples in the sky. I'll be getting those by mixing the red and the blue together. First, I'm going to lay down some white, starting in my upper left-hand corner. And then I'll start putting the blue in right on top of the white. The blue's dark when it comes out of the tube, but because I mix it with the white and the white's still wet and it mixes on my paper, then it actually makes it lighter. When the Impressionists painted, they didn't try to make it nice and really smooth and detailed. They were looking for light and color. That's what they were trying to paint. And so they didn't worry about brush strokes. They left their brush strokes. So I'm just painting it all in little dabs. I'm not trying to make it smooth, and I'm not trying to make it look actually photographic either. So you see I've got some dark up in the sky right there, and it's not completely blue, it's like kind of a purplish blue. And so I've got some white under there, and I've put some blue on top, and I've got some pink on my brush as well. And now I'm going to add some more white down here and just kind of let it work up into the other areas a little bit. I try to paint on top of the other paint when it's all still wet because I want it to mix on my paper. Now I'm speeding this up in iMovie so that you can see more in a shorter amount of time. You notice where I'm working down in this part of my picture, the clouds are kind of a reddish purple, and so I've got white and I've got red and I've got blue, and I'm just mixing them all together right on my paper. Just keep working it in. I try to do it all before any of the paint dries. And I'm not worried, like I said, about things being photographic. I'm worried about light and color because this is supposed to be an impressionist inspired painting. So I put the blue down and notice where that kind of purplish reddish cloud comes in. I've got white and I've got red and I've got blue. And I just keep adding them in different amounts. When it needs to be lighter, I add more white. And I follow the color areas that are on my photograph here. You notice in this area is lighter, but it's not going to stay lighter because in my photograph it's kind of a dark reddish purple. And then down in here it's even lighter. And I've got a little bit of red on my brush and mostly white, and that gives me that pinkish look. I just keep like working it in there. So I wanted it to be a little bit more pinkish, but now it's a little bit too pink, probably. So I've got some white on my brush now, and I'm working that in to lighten it up. And I just keep working around until I get it the way I want it. Now I'll move down to the hills and the road, and I still don't have anything but red and blue, and now I have yellow. I have the three primary colors. I put down yellow first, and now I've got blue on my brush, and I'm putting that right down into the wet yellow. And you can see it's making kind of a dark forest green. And I'm still just using dabs. I'm not trying to smooth anything out and trying to make anything look photographic. So I've got more yellow on my brush, but there was also some blue on my brush, and I didn't worry about wiping it off or rinsing it out because I'm still mixing the colors right on my canvas. Over here it's a little bit lighter, so I put more yellow on my brush. And now I'll speed this up. So down here it's lighter, so I add more yellow. And it always actually works best to start out with the lighter of the two colors that you're mixing. We all know that yellow and blue make green. And so I start out with yellow, then I add the blue to it gradually until I get the green I want. You can get so many different kinds of green just by using yellow and blue and mixing it in different amounts. Here I'm adding a little bit of white too because it was a little lighter over in that area. Okay, it's lighter over here. Start out with yellow, put some blue on my brush, mix it in, work it in. The brush strokes actually really make it look like there's trees and things over there. Add some white, a little bit more blue, a little bit more yellow. Just kind of work it in. So now I'll finish up with the road. I've got a little bit of white and a little bit of brown on my brush at the same time. And I lay down white first a lot of times because it makes things blend easier. The blue and the brown and the white make kind of a nice grayish color that works. And so I'm working that in to make it, wherever I want the darker parts to be. The road has a little bit of a pinkish tinge to it because of the sunset, so I added some red in there. And I'm just working it in. The white, the brown, the blue, the red where I want the pinkish tinge. And I just keep doing it until I like the way it looks. And I add a little bit in the end. Some darker green at the end where you can see some trees over the horizon line where the road is heading. So here's one example of an Impressionist inspired painting. Only done with red, yellow, blue, white, and brown.